I think there's an understanding by a lot of people that climate change is about bad weather, to put it bluntly, and they understand that bad weather is getting worse. But actually, there are implications for energy, there's implications for water, there's implications particularly for food, where our food comes from. Over 50% of our food is imported into this country. It's been like that for a very long time. Well, if those imports are reduced because of climate change, then that affects us. But there's also other sides to it, our health, our personal wealth in terms of being able to get insurance. That affects our way of life. And then there's not yet seen in any great quantities, but potentially huge migration coming out of parts of the world where actually they can't live anymore because of climate change. So all of those have an effect on how we want to live our lives. And you know, it's not a particularly political piece, but what it is us having the choice to live the way we want to live, and it will be affected by climate change in a way that people don't really understand. So climate change has become very political, and the messages that people get are suffused with politics. But politics and science are different. And I think that what we're beginning to see is that actually there are things happening around the world which are material. They are different. We are already living in a climate changed world, not as much as people are saying it will be, but that climate changed world will affect the way that we run our lives. And I think, how do we get that message to people in a way that they understand? It's by taking stories. So I use a story of, for example, 2 years ago we couldn't get tomatoes in our supermarkets. It didn't last long, a lot of people didn't notice, but we couldn't get tomatoes. Why was that? It was actually because our tomatoes broadly come from Spain, and they chose not to sell to us because they'd had such drought, such bad harvest. They chose to sell to their primary customer, who was the EU, and they didn't sell to us. It wasn't that we couldn't afford them. We could have afforded more expensive tomatoes. It was that they didn't wish to sell to us. Now that is how climate change will affect us in a completely different way.